lot about the difference between a materialistic world, like the one that we were all raised in and are part of, and which is just so punitive and keeping us all so isolated and ruining our relationships with each other and nature. And its opposite, which I call an enchanted world. You know, one full of magic, full of synchronicity, full of things that can't be explained, things that are beyond our full comprehension, that just sparkle with mystery and life. And an artist can really only exist in an enchanted world. It's through our curiosity and fascination with the living world that we reflect specialness back to each other. It's like our focus and attention has this way of constellating or infusing, inflating the natural world and giving everything a kind of sparkle. And that sparkle, you know, is reciprocal. It's like things become more beautiful with our focus and attention. We appreciate them more and we care for them more. It makes us care for everything more. And the absence of our attention has a destructive power too. Neglect can be a form of abuse. When we turn away from each other and nature and instead turn towards artifice, we lose the connection. I mean, the connection is just there. It's inside of us all along, but it goes dormant. It kind of becomes disenchanted. It stops working. It's like the circuits just lose their connection. We can think of the chakras as that, you know, those are the layers of energy that nest together like Russian nesting dolls inside of us. And all these energy centers correspond to parts of our body. And our body gives us information, but we've been taught to suppress, ignore, deny, or medicate the information that our body is giving us because it's too inconvenient. We don't want to hear what it has to say. But when you open your channel up again, it's really like you get that two-way signal back. It's like a complete feedback loop with the whole universe, with everything, with nature. And restoring this connection, it wasn't easy for me. But now that I have it back, I have returned to myself, and I like it more and more. So it's hard to know how to navigate right now. I mean, we all retreated so far into the country and so far into ourselves. Some of us liked slowing down a lot, and we healed a lot and just reoriented ourselves to a more natural, truthful way of being that is more sustainable. But it's hard to know how to fit back into the material world when you have all that. So I keep leaving the snares and traps of the online world, and I get back more and more of myself. But along the way, it's like I keep wishing there's just more people out here with me. I found ways back to the world through boredom, the classic way, you know, just not feeling like there was a lot of people out here, and then going off and getting into stuff just out of curiosity, just by following my heart. It's very impractical to do this, of course. I mean, I'm not independently wealthy, and I'm not even gainfully employed right now, just the way that the world has unraveled. I have run businesses and done lots of large projects in the past, very professional, reliable person, a hard worker. I'm not afraid of hard work, you know, but I'm also a strategist and a planner and a visionary. So it's like I can and have done many things. Spent my whole life believing that it was enough to just do good deeds, be true to yourself, work hard, help others, and it'll all work out. But that hasn't really worked out. And it surprises me because it seems like those are the exact values I would want. I have at least a dozen ideas that I've attempted to monetize or make into brands, and all the advice out there is saying to niche down and decide on my color scheme and my font. And part of me resists the easy commodification. But also part of me knows that my pride has probably kept me in poverty this long. It all feels too big to fight. And when I get to that point, I just give up and go back into myself again. It feels like a resistance to return to myself over and over again. At least I'm trying to resist. I'm not trying to be hypnotized and paralyzed. I want the world that I remember, actually even a better world. I want the world that I dream of. As Charles Eisenstein says, the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. Like, that's a clear vision in my heart. Being an artist just wires you to be rebellious. I mean, you really have to be. Being an artist means endless exploration of the frontier. And you have to be a little bit on the outside of society to have the perspective and to see where to go, to see what's needed in the culture. This is like the subculture and the underground. This is like a whole slice of our society, which has been obliterated the last few years with just the way things have unraveled. And it's a silent death that people don't even realize, but it has to do with the actual, like, all of it. I say all the time that culture is the soil our consciousness grows in. It's the stuff, it's the dream material. And we don't have any real organic, wild, free-range dream material. We don't have easy access to it anyway. And I genuinely miss people. I mean, I just don't think we're meant to do life alone. I think we're meant to have our counterparts and to commit and to have a life that you build with someone. Many someones, you can have lots of different types of partnerships, friendships, but all that just seems so broken. All of my plans like that fell apart. People aren't talking. We're all just so divided. We're isolated and mesmerized by all the digital distractions. And, if you have a phone, it's like you're still part of it. I'm still part of it, even though I'm barely on anything anymore. But the world notices when we're absent. But why don't more of us notice that and realize that we can re-enchant it? That we're supposed to care for nature and for each other. Like, we aren't meant to be completely self-reliant. I mean, I believe that the natural world has the remedy for everything that a human body could suffer from. We just have to go out and find it. It's like that with people. It's like we're only able to get so far, and then we need the other people to help us fill in the gaps and blanks and make it work. It's like we can only really know our own soul through our relationships. They make us grow. They give us a mirror. So I'm thinking about all this today, and as my regulars know, I'm in the middle of a 3-month challenge for this YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow it and make money from it while creating something that I enjoy, something that's sustainable. I want it to be fun. It's a lot of work doing these things. So it's a 3-month challenge, and I really believe in the rule of 3. That's the rule for comedy for sure. It's said that it takes 3 weeks to change a habit. There are 3 basic parts to a sandwich, 2 slices of bread and the meat. There are 3 parts to a story, a beginning, middle, and end. And Walt Disney had a 3-phase creative process that I often incorporate into my own creative process. I just think about it so much and really value his steps here. So he has 3 phases to his process, which are the dreamer, the realist, and the critic. And these are supposed to be 3 distinct stages that do not overlap. And that's the really important part, is to respect the time and place for each one. So you don't allow the realist or critic to come into the dreaming phase of the process. They just kill the dreams. I mean, how many times have you had that happen? It happens to me all the time. Similarly, the dreamer can't be part of the realist or critic phase. It's unrealistic, right? To have a dreamer still dreaming when you're trying to get the thing done, changing everything and just moving the goalpost. And the realist and critic have to stay in their lanes with each other as well. An artist is basically in perpetual dreamer mode. It's just how we're oriented. But through discipline and repetition, artists can toughen up and use the feedback that they get from the realist and critic to make their creations even stronger, to make them more resonant and more precise. It's not easy to endure the realist and critic, but they serve a purpose. In order to bring your dreams into the real world, the realist says you have to be practical. You have to use the materials, time, and help that are available. The realist works with what's there. Often the critic will try to poke in early and say the materials aren't good enough, wait for a better time, it'll never work, da 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 da. And the realist has to push the critic out of their head too. Too much criticism too early can cause perfection paralysis. Nothing will ever get done because it's picked apart before it even exists. The realist makes something out of the dreamer's dream. And it's way harder to have an idea and create something than it is to pick it apart or do nothing. So we have to protect ourselves from the critic most of all. The final stage, though, does belong to this critic. The highest octave of the critic is refinement. Through appreciation of the effort that came before and respect for it, the critic can offer the final tweaks that really make the creation pop. They just sort of like trim the fat a little bit. So the challenge with my channel, 90 days, 3 months, and I'm now in the second week of month 2. So I am solidly in the realist part of the challenge. And I feel that. It is time to get real. Yesterday, a friend asked me what even was the point of my channel. He asked me where it was going, and he said, no offense, but why do you think anyone would be interested in what you're doing? And at first, I did feel the sting. You know, the realist hit the dreamer like square on the head, like, okay, yeah, but what are you doing? It was a valid question. Why do I think anyone would be interested in me? What is the point of me sharing my struggles in my life with you here? The point of sharing for me, I guess, is the easiest to tackle. I share because I value real personal stories. I appreciate them when other people share them. I know that it's an act of vulnerability and courage to share. And I believe that reality is, stranger than fiction. There's plenty to be inspired by in just how people live their lives and choices that they make and struggles that they have. I'm an artist. I am creative in everything I do, which makes my life one big art project with lots of little projects sprinkled in. It's a big joyful mess of me feeling around in the dark, which I think is what life is about. I think we forget that when everything's just like a list and a PowerPoint presentation or some AI edited video of just, ideas and concepts. It's like, I'm just kind of tired of that stuff. As for why anyone would be interested, I don't have an answer. I am an entertainer, so I would hope that some of it is just entertaining. I'm also a spiritual person, a spiritual teacher, so I hope that there's also some wisdom to be gained from things that I say. But I just really enjoy unconventional people, creatives of all kinds, do-it-yourselfers, outside-the-boxers, behind-the-scenesters, real-worlders, free-thinking, free-wheeling, free-spirited, spunky, wild-card kind of people with integrity. I like those kind of people. I enjoy just watching them, being in their energy, getting to know them. I think real people are a dying breed that should be revived before it's too late, before the world goes from technicolor to monochromatic. It already has, if we're honest. I like texture and variety. That's real diversity, and that's in the real world. I miss it so much. I wasn't trying to let it go. I went back to bring it forward with us. Because progress is not linear. Sometimes we have to go back and pick up the loose threads, weave them back into the tapestry of our lives. So I suppose I'm documenting the process of me doing that, of just going back to the real world and pulling some of it forward. Of course, I wish I had some awesome success story to make me the undisputed expert of success with courses and sales funnels and a more comfortable life. I hope I get there, but it seems I'm in the thick of it right now, still living the struggle part. And it's very humbling to share. And I only do it because I value the stories of others, and I value honesty so much. Real people and real struggles are inspiring to me. I just always learn so much. And life is my art project. I decided to follow my heart and see what happens. The only thing I've done is not give up. It's cost me everything, but I also chose to live my life as a real-time adventure, not a script to follow. My artistic heroes were rebels who were usually punished by society. They were neglected, ignored, misunderstood in their lifetime. I see being an artist at a minimum as a respectable working class trade. I have so much creativity pouring out of me. I have so much I want to share, and I've just been trying to find my place to put it, to find my people, my person even, to help me share it. I really think that's what life is about. The realist phase is quite stark compared to the dreamer. It's brass tacks, sink or swim, make or break time. And that's true for me, for this channel, for this project, for, I guess, my whole experience out in Northern California, which I do have to just be a realist about. I came here as a dreamer. So I took on these challenges so I could find out, does this have any legs? Are me and YouTube compatible? Are we going to have a real relationship? Am I interested? Am I interesting enough? Just living my scrappy little life and sharing it? Does everything have to be like the same on YouTube? I'm trying to give an immersive experience, just give you an energy, like we're spending time together in the real world. Maybe that's not enough. I don't know. I just keep doing me, and I hope to inspire others to be more fully them. So this channel is just me. It's a Gen X woman and artist re-enchanting the real world with wildness, wonder, and delight. Life is the art and the adventure. So let's get to it. We're in the realist phase right now. We're going to make the best with the materials available. And then we'll see how it is judged. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this real-time journey with me. This is part of my creative process, this whole channel. Finding out what's next. Where do we go? How do we make sense of what's going on and rebuild the culture, re-enchant the world, and love each other again? How do we do all that? I hope we find out.